I really wanted to like Time Break Chronicles. Even now, I wouldn't say I hate it. Time Break Chronicles is what I would consider a mechanically dense game, and normally this sort of thing would be right up my alley. It bills itself as a classic JRPG with modern roguelite elements. It boasts that it's going to have a cast of 100 playable characters. Initially, I was going to get into the game, and I was actually going to be a lot more positive in my video about it. And although I wouldn't consider this a particularly negative video, I am going to be very critical of Time Break Chronicles. The game is currently in early access, so I'm hoping if Warrior General Games gets a chance to see my video, they will at least consider what I have to say. Most JRPGs are mechanically dense, but Time Break Chronicles takes that to a whole nother level. It hyper-focuses on game mechanics more than anything else, and personally, I think its mechanical density is enough to make it stand out. But turning a JRPG into nothing but a numbers game is also a bit of a gamble. Old school JRPGs are already sort of a niche genre. Whenever a game is released that looks like it was made in RPG Maker, that becomes a harder and harder sell on me. Not because you can't make a good RPG in RPG Maker. I can think of several titles off the top of my head that were great, but it took me ages because just like there's so many good games made in RPG Maker, there's also a lot of bad games. I wouldn't rank Time Break Chronicles as a great, but it is a fun game. But just being a fun game isn't enough to entice a lot of people to give the game a shot, and so Time Break Chronicles tends to remain hidden amongst the bargain bin of RPG Maker games. That being said, I also know what they were going for. This is supposed to look like one of those SNES titles. Think Chrono Trigger or Final Fantasy VI. And so as much as I harp on the style, I can get why it's there. Where my biggest critique lies is in the game's pacing. Time Break Chronicles doesn't just borrow from JRPGs. It also takes a lot from roguelite games. A genre known for wildly swinging difficulties, which can oftentimes lead to long runs, but this is counteracted by how different each run feels, and I think the problem with Time Break Chronicles is every run feels too similar and feels too long. Warrior General Games, if you ever see this video and you glean one piece of advice, my suggestion for Time Break Chronicles would be increase the speed of the pacing. You're already making the game endless. You don't need to make it slow. I know that contradicts trends for JRPGs back in the day, but there's a reason that we evolved from those JRPGs in the past. The fun of the game should be from experimenting and replayability. You don't want to burn people out in their first run, especially for a game that has 2 game modes. Another feature I find quite commendable. I received a review copy of Time Break Chronicles, and the service I use to receive keys like this asks you how likely you are to cover a game. And I told the makers of Time Break Chronicles I would 100% make this video. And though I initially started off having a lot of fun with Time Break Chronicles, the burnout set in far faster than I was expecting it to. I'm usually pretty generous when it comes to scoring games, and I tend to avoid scoring games because of that. If I had to score Time Break Chronicles, based on my own logic for what a score should be, I think I would give it a 6 out of 10. Enough to still get a thumbs up from me, but not enough to be a total simp for the game or anything. I think Time Break Chronicles could easily achieve being better than it is right now. And if early access means anything, I hope it will, and I hope Warrior General Games listens to their community, listens to maybe this video. I know a few other people are complaining about the pacing. Though I did say I burnt out on Time Break Chronicles, I can see the promise behind the game. When a game is in early access, either I like it or I don't. And then when it leaves early access, my mind rarely changes. Time Break Chronicles kind of sits somewhere in between, so I'm willing to keep an eye on the game to see whether it swings one way or the other, and maybe when it's feature complete, I'll take another look at it. Anyway, I think I said all I wanted to about Time Break Chronicles. If you enjoyed the video, consider dropping a like, and subscribe if you're interested in seeing more. I hope you all have a good morning, and I'll see you again soon.